Hello, my name is Oliver Glanz and I'm a professor of Old Testament at the seminary at Andrews University. In this tutorial, I would like to show you how to access and use the Hebrew Qualifier course. Now, once you have registered with our secretary in the Old Testament department for taking the Hebrew Qualifier, you can log into the Learning Hub and you will see in your course overview this new course pop up, the Hebrew Qualifier course. Now, this course will give you access to the actual qualifier exam. You see this all the way down here, the Hebrew qualifier exam. This exam will be unlocked, will be accessible at the date where the Hebrew qualifier is scheduled, and it will only be available, it will only be accessible in the computer lab that you are told to go to. So if you're at home and if you're outside of the day and time on which the Hebrew qualifier is scheduled, there is no way for you to click these links and actually do the qualifier. Okay, so let's start here on the top of this course. Before you click on anything, before you try anything, I highly recommend that you first read the instructions and explanations. So this is a PDF. Click on it and you will get 6 points in which you explained what the qualifier is, what you tested on, of what the qualifier consists of. There are 2 parts and that you will have to take. And it also explains you how long the qualifier will be and what type of software you should install on your local machine, whether Mac or Windows, in order to access the sample qualifier for you to train. So make sure that you take some time and read this carefully. Now, once you have read the instructions and explanations, you get access to 2 sections here in this course, namely a sample Hebrew qualifier and then Bible Online Learner exercise materials. Now, when you want to take a sample qualifier, you can do so. You can access the sample qualifier as often as you want in order to get a good understanding of what type of questions you're asked in the actual qualifier exam. Now, before you access the sample Hebrew qualifier, and definitely before you take the actual Hebrew qualifier, I highly recommend to you that you read these 2 PDF documents. So first, there's a little PDF document that gives you the codes for the abbreviations that we're using in our qualifier. There's nothing special about it, but it's always good to have a quick look at this to make sure that you're not exposed to some abbreviations that you have no clue about what they mean. And then the second PDF that gives you an overview over the syntax terminology that will be used in the sample qualifier and the actual qualifier. So make sure that you study this document well. You see here in the left column the actual grammatical term, clause, verbal clause, nominal clause, sentence, and these types of concepts, phrases, predicate phrase, subject phrase, and so on. Then there will be 3 columns in which the actual term is explained. So my colleague Raigain provides an explanation. I myself provide an explanation. And if this is not enough, you can look at the Biblical Hebrew Reference Grammar. That's what BHRG stands for, the Biblical Hebrew Reference Grammar. And there you have the actual paragraph that explains the term in full length. And then there are some examples for the grammatical term explained, and there are some screenshots of the Bible Online Learner that graphically kind of represent the issue. And then if you want to have much more examples, you can click here on the Shebunk queries. Once you click there, you will actually get to the complete list of cases to be found in the Old Testament of the particular term. For example, when I would click here verbal clause on this link, then actually the Shebunk site will open up and you will see all verbal clauses as they appear in the Old Testament. Okay, good. So make sure that you really study these 2 PDFs before you take the actual Hebrew qualifier. Now, once you want to take the sample Hebrew qualifier, you will be prompted and asked to install the lockdown browser. Now, in case you have already installed the lockdown browser, you just have to click here on Launch Lockdown Browser and you will get access to the actual sample Hebrew qualifier, or the real Hebrew qualifier. So make sure if nothing happens when you click this Launch Lockdown Browser, make sure that you download the lockdown browser and install it. So the program is available for both the Windows platform as well as the Mac OS platform. So make sure that you install the lockdown browser. Once you click on the sample Hebrew qualifier, let's do this here, you will be asked to launch the lockdown browser. So click on the lockdown browser, then you will have to open the lockdown browser. You start the lockdown browser, yes, here we go. And then basically automatically the exam will start. You might be prompted to close a couple of programs. Just click on the yes button. So now we have closed the programs, and you can then just start quiz. And the sample exam or the real exam will start depending on what you click. While the lockdown browser is open and is being used, you cannot access any other programs on the computer. That's the purpose of the lockdown browser. So it prevents you from cheating or opening Bible software programs or anything like that. When you have finished your part A of the sample Hebrew qualifier and you have reached more than 75% of the scores, then you will automatically get access to the sample Hebrew qualifier part 2. So the qualifier exists of two parts. In the first part, Hebrew 1 knowledge is being tested. In the second part, Hebrew 2 knowledge is being tested. This is the same in the real Hebrew qualifier. You see here Hebrew qualifier part 1, Hebrew qualifier part 2, as well as in the sample Hebrew qualifier. So in the sample Hebrew qualifier, we really want to reproduce the experience of the real Hebrew qualifier. If you have reached less than 75% of scores for the part 1, then you're not able to continue with part 2. That's the same for the Hebrew qualifier when you actually take it. So you need to score more than 75%, that is basically passing the Hebrew 1 part of the Hebrew qualifier, in order to access the Hebrew 2 part of the qualifier. So then, as a last point, if you want to get additional materials for exercise, if your textbooks that you're working with or your grammars are not enough, well, then we provide here a whole list of potential exercises that you can take. These are all Bible Online Learner exercises. They are online. So here we have now clicked on the vocab exercise. You are asked all words between 800 and 100 of frequency. So here you have that, and you type in your the meanings and the glosses. I advise you that you create an account actually with the Bible Online Learner that allows you to track your scores, to monitor your performance. You can take these exercises as often as you want, and you can improve in this way. So there are verb morphology exercises, nominal morphology exercises, phrase analysis exercises where you have to detect phrases, subjects, objects, and so on. And there are many more exercises, so you might want to look at them and prepare yourself with those exercises for the Hebrew qualifier. Okay, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to come to the Old Testament department, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. All the best.